actually, I was surprised by one thing you said in your answer to the fourth question, where you admitted the possibility of building a molecularly equivalent system as a living system, and it then being human and then being living. So if we think about, but you use the word spirit in your definition of man, the fifth definition, and that being missing from what was being built by wind robots, and also indirectly you're suggesting that there could be other things than just biomolecules in living systems. So if that was the case, I see two possibilities. Either having it or not has no influence on the biological system.
Having the spirit?
Having spirit has no, whatever it is that God puts there, has no influence on the biological system, or it does have some influence on the biological system. So if it has some influence on the biological system, then it becomes a scientific question, because one can then look for that. And so in molecular biology as we see it today, and maybe it's just because every molecular biologist has blinders on and is not seeing any of that influence, but you could be looking for it. And that would be a key thing, which then might be a showstopper for building robots out of other materials, because there's something there that's happening that we can't control, we can't duplicate, unless God very cleverly puts it in every fake bacteria that we build without letting us know, which is a further third-order possibility. So either it has an effect or it doesn't. If it has an effect, it's something we can look for. That we haven't seen any evidence of that, and in the absence of evidence of some phenomena, the scientific method is to say it's not there until we see some evidence of it, something happening. And that could happen, and I've talked about the juice of life to sort of explain what we might be missing from a scientific point of view purely. So either it has an influence or it doesn't. If it has an influence, we could go look for it, and we may fail because we're not smart enough to find it. If it has no influence, then it doesn't matter as far as building artificial creatures. So that's my take on it, and why I actually agree with you when you said earlier that science and religion are different spheres. I think they're different spheres, and that they don't intersect.
I actually didn't say they were different spheres and don't intersect.
Well, I like to think you said it. So.
It's very good to say back to people what you think they said so that they can correct the handshake. Gosh, a lot of thoughts on that. So if well, I keep thinking of us as, I don't know, have you ever read Edwin Abbott's book, Flatland? They're these creatures in this two-dimensional space, and while they have infinitesimal depth, they can't move that. So when a 3D or 4D thing comes along, everybody thinks the 2D thing that saw it is wacko, because you can't describe it in that 2D world. And yet it can have a presence in that 2D world. So I think maybe this, us in the image of God with this soul might be sort of like that. There's some aspect of it that has a presence in us. It also may be free for us to invite it to have a presence or more of a presence. But I don't think we can measure all of it in our current world, in our current state. I think we're sort of like the creatures trapped in Flatland, where we really can only get, a projection of what's going on and can't fully comprehend it until we are freed up to this greater reality.
For more information about the Veritas Forum, including additional recordings and a calendar of upcoming events, please visit our website at veritas.org.